One thing I can honestly tell you when this time of the year comes, I love the sun. It comes right through my window and I could feel it on me every single morning. And I love it. I really do. I love the sun. I love being in the sun. The only drawback for me is the pollen level. I um, get, annual sinus infections. And not to mention the fact that last year my sinus infection turned into bronchitis. So I'm trying to be extra careful this year because of that. And I can honestly say, even in childhood, I love being in the sun. Never got burned my entire life. Gone through my whole life with not one sunburn. Don't even know what that feels like. The only way I know what a sunburn feels like is from talking to white people throughout my life, and they describe to me how it feels. Other than that, I have no clue. All I see is them walking around red, and I see them walking around flaming red all summer long. Around me when I'm going out public, I see them flaming red. I see their kids looking like that, and sometimes even the infants that they've had outside. And never experienced that ever. No one in my family has. I never even recall we go out and have family reunions and have alcohol outside and barbecuing and all that stuff. And I never remember one family reunion where a relative was out there burning. Haven't seen it happen even once. So get those rays in, everybody. If you can get out there, get out there. Get your vitamin D. It's a beautiful thing to be able to get that from the sun. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this article because everybody is not impacted by the sun the same way. So, is it just me, or do I get way more sunburned when I'm drinking? Now, I can see that happening, y'all, and this is the reason why. Back in the day, when I had certain friends, when they would go too far with drinking and fall asleep, sometimes they would do that in the sun. And by the time they would wake up, they would be sunburned. I've seen that happen, you know. I think, in some cases they forget to reapply the sunscreen, especially when they're drinking alcohol. They just tend to forget and end up burnt in the sun. Or, where they're no longer thinking about it and they're all into drinking and relaxing a bit too much. So this came out in Well and Good, May 21st, 2019. It's now legitimately hot outside and the sun is shining. And it's shining beautifully today, and I can see a lot of blue sky. I'm glad it's not all overcast. This means two things are a must: wearing extra sunscreen to protect skin and drinking alcohol, al fresco, in moderation, of course. But then I heard murmurs that the two have a combative relationship, and a light bulb went off in my head. Can drinking alcohol affect your sun sensitivity? When I checked out the scenario with dermatologists, they weren't necessarily able to call out a definitive link, but there does seem to be a correlation between alcohol consumption and an increased risk of sun damage. Wow. Well, we know about the burns from citrus fruit, because I've done the stories on people using limes and lemons and getting some second degree burns from it. There is a slight association between some alcohol, primarily white wine, and the likelihood of developing skin cancer. Wow, really? White wine? Interesting. That said, okay, so there's a dermatologist, Rachel Nazarian. She says, she notes that she hasn't seen a study that proves alcohol makes you sun sensitive or increases your chance of getting a sunburn, though others have echoed that consumption of alcohol does correlate with an increased risk of skin cancer. While it's very important to understand that correlation does not imply casualty, I notice that I return to my home a bit pinker on the days I spent in the sun, cocktail in hand. But what's behind that? The science is still working that out in many ways. Really? I'm just saying, it amazes me that people have been on Earth all this time and they can't still figure out what makes you burn in the sun. You're still trying to figure that out? Because that's what she's saying. The full reason is not quite yet known, but some hypothesis exists, she says, on the connection between alcohol and sun sensitivity. One is that the metabolism of alcohol may prevent the body from being able to repair the other mutations in the body, such as those in the skin when exposed to ultraviolet radiation. The other is that alcohol consumption creates free radicals in the body, which have also been linked to aging and genetic mutations in the skin. Dermatologist and skin surgeon Kenneth Mark adds that the main issue with drinking and the sun is related to melanoma specifically. Really? Increased alcohol consumption has been known to be a risk factor for melanoma, he says. My opinion is that it could be from alcohol suppressing the immune system. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, many people are outside drinking alcohol. I don't believe if that's the case, then you would see people of many other cultures burning too. I've been outside drinking alcohol, during my family reunions, and I never burnt up from the sun or felt like it suppressed my immune system. So I don't know. I don't know if Kenneth Mark, dermatologist or whatever, cancer surgeon, I don't know if he knows what he's talking about. Then there's the whole factor of impaired judgment. If an individual has had too much to drink, they might not be aware of their skin starting to burn, or they may forget to reapply sunscreen evenly every 2 hours, said Francesca Fusco. That actually makes more sense to me. You know how people get when they drink alcohol, and they probably get all into partying and everything and drinking, and they just totally forget, hey, I need to reapply more sunscreen. That actually makes more sense to me than alcohol suppressing the immune system. That doesn't make sense to me. Okay, that makes sense. People become more forgetful. So, of course, they would increase their chances of getting sunburn. So even though there isn't a definitive research saying that drinking alcohol makes you more susceptible to sun damage, maintaining proper sun protection is still your best bet, as it always is, no matter what. I don't wear sunscreen. I've heard people saying, well, Black people should wear sunscreen too. I disagree with that. I disagree with it because why should we put on sunscreen when we see people wearing it and it doesn't even work for you? You're still burning in the sun with it on. And most sunscreens on the shelf are toxic. That's another reason why I would never put that shit on. Okay, you put it on, but don't recommend that I put it on because I'm not going to listen to you. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. How some people get more sunburn when they're drinking out in the sun, I tell you what, I love my melanin. I wouldn't trade it for nothing on this planet. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.